The gods of destruction reign supreme in Dragon Ball Super, but with Vegeta and Frieza unlocking their most terrifying new powers, could they be next in line to claim that godly title? Well, to understand how they could reach these heights, let's go over every single god of destruction to see who they are competing with. Starting with, of course, Beerus. When he first appeared in Battle of Gods, all of us were stunned to see him completely humiliate Super Saiyan 3 Goku by finishing him off in just 2 hits. Then he arrived on Earth, whooped Vegeta's ass, KO'd the entire team using chopsticks, and easily vanquished Super Saiyan God Goku. Beerus quickly became a fan favorite. He was funny, charming, and incredibly strong. Bro could sneeze planets out of existence, yet a spicy dish could make him go absolutely haywire. But he wasn't always like this. Toei's scriptwriter Yusuke Watanabe originally envisioned Beerus as a lizard-like character who infects people with evil and was the one who gave the Saiyan race their ruthless trait. But Toriyama's like, nah, scratch that, that's all crap, let's just go with my storyline. Beerus is gonna be a cat. A short-tempered one at that. This trait only increased the already existing urge of destroyers to act nonchalantly. The dude could literally, had the entire universe annihilated whilst playing tag with his twin brother if it wasn't for Whis and Vados's intervention. However, his image did change as the series progressed, from a guy who was feared throughout the cosmos to being Bra's babysitter. The cat-like god of destruction is more down to earth than you think, not just for his cravings of delicious foods, but he actually has a soft spot for Goku and his friends. Yep, Beerus is a tsundere. Toriyama did kinda make him into a comical character, showcasing Zeno taming Beerus and riding him like a horse. With that said, Beerus still acts on pure instincts and at times is seen as lazy, arrogant, and even lusty. Bro actually invited a pop star into his planet to entertain him, and in the movie Superhero, he told Chile to stay on his planet as long as she likes just because he found her cute. But hey, none of this takes away from how powerful Beerus actually is. Like, he has been training for over a millennia and living for over 250 million years. In fact, we know for sure that he was a certified God at least 75 million years ago, when he had sealed the 15th generation Supreme Kai into the Z-Sword after a petty argument. Also, King Cold grouping him together with Majin Buu could indicate Beerus or his race was around the time of the universe's creation. According to the established god hierarchy, the gods of destruction are placed above the Supreme and other Kais. However, they actually start as mortals, and only after acquiring God Ki, similar to how Goku and Vegeta did in the anime, they become divine, immortal deities at the end of their training. Each god of destruction is paired up with an angel, the pinnacle of strength and power. Though they are stronger than their masters, these angels are bound to act according to their wishes. You could take it as the stronger and wiser version of the relationship between Popo and Kami. Come on, we all know Popo is one of the strongest in the universe. But just think, if training Goku and Vegeta got them 10,000 times stronger than Super Saiyan 3 in less than 6 years, imagine Beerus's improvements under Whis after training for a millennia. A key thing to note is that these angels not only act as advisors and mentor, but also help train their successors, meaning one day the gods of destruction can retire. But strength isn't the only criteria to become a destroyer, as they have to be beyond the dualities of good and evil, acting impartially and not destroying based on karma. In contrast to the Kaioshin, who wields the power of creation that allows planets and life forms to come into being, the god of destruction are vested with the rights to destroy. When a new planet forms in the universe, they wipe off the old ones to keep everything perfectly balanced. But the choice of which planets and civilization needs to go belongs entirely to them. However, along with their respective Supreme Kais, their main objective is to make sure that their universe maintains an average mortal level above 7. Another thing that links them together is their life. Yep, obviously because the destroyers require immense power to carry out their task, they are much stronger than their counterpart. So to ensure a balance of power, they have to have their life linked, which is assigned when they are appointed. For example, once the old Kai was sealed away, the Kai replacing him became tied to Beerus, where now the current Kaioshin linked to him is Shin. In reality, no one can challenge and actually kill Beerus. My guy's too powerful, leaving aside, the angels or Zeno. So if they did want to, the best approach would be to take Shin's life, like how Zamasu did in the alternative timeline. But Beerus can't really be that strong, right? I mean, a lot of fans have referred to Beerus as a moving goalpost. Well, that's because of conflicting statements in the anime. Beerus in the manga, however, is a complete different beast. From the get-go, he was merely toying with Goku and never got pushed back even once due to his speed, which caught the Saiyan off guard by zooming and headbutting him in chapter 4. This God of Destruction's punches are so strong, it was able to cause the very fabric of the universe to shake, sending out gravitational waves millions of light years far from Earth, all the way to the Supreme Kai's planet. He continued to showcase his formidable power later against Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta by whooping his ass not once but twice. Toyotaro also confirmed this in an interview by mentioning that Beerus is amongst the 3 characters who still has the edge above Goku and Vegeta. In the Granola arc, Beerus reveals the full scale of Hakai alongside Ultra Ego, which rivals even the Angel's signature Ultra Instinct. And if you didn't know, Beerus also possesses that. But why is it not his default technique? Well, that's because the users of Ultra Instinct such as Goku needs to be calm and steady in battle, which Beerus in chapter 68 admits that's not his forte. On the other hand, existing on the opposite spectrum, Ultra Ego taps into one's core instincts that fuels the destructive tendencies of the mind. It involves cleansing the spirit and mind to move the body freely, or doing as you please. But in both techniques, you do have to train your mind and body, only answering to your core instincts and nothing else. Beerus has perfected this art, but narrowed it down to his destructive tendencies, which is why he hasn't mastered Ultra Instinct like Whis. But with this, he's confidently able to wield his energy of destruction and focus on a specific target. This is the power of Hakai, which is the signature techniques of gods of destruction powered by the state of Ultra Ego. According to Beerus, it basically erases the target from existence completely, including the very soul itself. However, he cannot touch immortal beings such as the angels, the Omni King, and those who became immortal by the Dragon Balls like future Zamasu. As for the current timeline Zamasu, well, not only can he do that to you, but also destroy an entire planet with just a minuscule amount of Hakai energy. It's so potent that hurling 2 Hakai energy balls at each other could potentially destroy the entire universe. Currently, he's teaching Vegeta on how to perfect his Hakai and Ultra Ego, shaping him up to be an ideal successor. Yep, Vegeta is likely gonna be the next god of destruction, and even though Belmod wouldn't allow this, once he has mastered the godly key, Vegeta's lifespan will give him enough time to live out his earthly years and then take his future role. Regardless if this happens or not, Vegeta has already tapped into the realms of a destroyer, and evolving his Ultra Ego could effectively make him the strongest destroyer to exist.
Stop the cap.
Alright, come on, I just want him to have one double, right? And think about it, apart from Beerus and Frieza, none of the other destroyers, which we'll come to in a bit, seems to embody the level of raw pride and battle lust that could be seen synonymous to what fuels Ultra Ego. This in turn also means Beerus is technically the strongest destroyer amongst the rest, which is actually confirmed both in the Dragon Ball Broly light novel and in the promotional material material. All the other destroyers even borderline hate him. Due to this, along with Beerus's silly antics, which, caused constant arguments. In fact, on one occasion, over 5 million years ago, Beerus almost got the entire multiverse erased. Why? Well, a hide-and-seek tournament was organized for Grand Zeno, but Beerus fell asleep for over 50 years, forcing its cancellation. Zeno, annoyed, threatened to erase all universes until the other destroyers begged him not to. Whis also adds, apart from this, they have some personal grudges too, indicating jealousy of his strength, knowing they would lose to him in battle. Beerus proves this in the manga version of Zeno's Expo, where he had to fight all of the other gods of destruction at one go and still managed to survive until the end. Well, there were two people actually. One was him and the other was Quitella, the god of destruction of Universe 4. This little guy is the Jerry to Beerus, but it's just as lazy as the cat, as he prefers to play video games and eat junk food rather than do his job. Deriving his name from the alcoholic beverage tequila, which actually means the place of tricks, Quitella is a self-centered deity who surrounds himself with statues of himself and isn't above using deceptive tactics to rise to the top. Like, for example, how he plotted against Beerus in an effort to either weaken or remove him before the Tournament of Power. In fact, his manipulation and trickery allowed him to escape any accusations by using other gods of destructions to do his bidding, like convincing Sidra to use assassins to eliminate Frieza in attempts to prevent Universe 7 from having a full roster. Quitella's rivalry with Beerus continued in the Tournament of Power, where he accused Roshi of cheating after he used an item for his evil containment wave attack against one of Universe 4's members. Beerus and Quitella pulled a classic Tom and Jerry confrontation as they slowly ran towards each other for an off-ring wrestle. Unlike his peers, he seems to be more calm and collected, where most of the other deities who were stunned and horrified by the Zeno's erasure of Universe 9, Quitella was instead unfazed and rather amused, showing that he has no compassion for others. He also seems amused that Goku was able to achieve Ultra Instinct Sign, whilst the other gods were understandably taken aback by this development. But Quitella's joy was short-lived, as his universe was fated to be erased after this little bug was knocked out of the ring. Quitella becomes enraged and attempts to stomp out this little bug, as he shows that he too is terrified of his fate, declaring that he would use his power to remove everyone. But he is, simply wiped out in an instant by the two Zenos along with his universe before he could even lift a finger. A key note is that in the manga, he was more excited about the fight than his peers, showing his confidence in his strength. Along with Beerus, he also remained as the last person standing in Zeno's Expo, indicating that he just might be the second strongest god of destruction in the multiverse. Nevertheless, Quitella is one of the smarter gods and by far the most pragmatic of them all, preferring to rely on strategies, low blows and dirty moves in order to gain the advantage over his opponent. However, this rat didn't really perform any noteworthy feats in the competition apart from knocking out Ivan, so we can assume he survived till the end thanks to his endurance, agility and most importantly, sneakiness. But don't let him fool you too, because under his scrawny looks, he packs immense strength, even beating Beerus in an arm wrestling match. Now, you might be wondering, if Beerus is the number one, then why isn't his twin brother on the same level? Well, if you think Beerus was a lazy cat, then you haven't met Champa, the god of destruction for Universe 6. I mean, his physique is a dead giveaway, but the dude was so lethargic that he even had to ask Vados, his companion angel, to do his job by destroying a planet for him. In fact, during the battle royale for gods, Beerus showcased the differences by whacking and sending him flying in the air. He also got caught in Belmod's and Rumshi's attack as well, and when he was finally on the ground, he couldn't get up. In fact, he was so glad that the Grand Priest had stopped the fight. Prior to becoming a god, he was actually a member of the Pride Troopers, currently led by Toppo. He quit because, like Jiren, hated Gichin's idea about the importance of teamwork. But after Goku and Vegeta fight against the powerhouse Jiren, Belmod began to realize what his old friend meant. The difference between Belmod and the rest of the gods is that he's comparatively new to the position. He quit and became a destroyer god just before Shin became a supreme Kai, which is, still 5 million years ago. Now, this was around the time when the multiversal hide and seek tournament took place and Belmod was in it. This indicates that Belmod is a prodigy amongst the others, where though he lacks experience, he makes it up in his fighting prowess. Now, a key thing that makes Belmod quite different from the other gods of destructions is that, they're supposed to be neutral in the matters of mortals. However, his sense of justice from his Pride Trooper days still hadn't left him. Making matters worse, this contradicts his role as a god of destruction, indicating he plans for an early retirement. I mean, the only reason I could still see him sticking around is for, of course, his sweet angel Makarita, where initially in the manga, Toyotaro depicted them to be lovers. However, Belmod does not forgive evil, nor does he abide by it, as he is described as a peaceful deity, which is quite ironic, him being a god of destruction and all. In fact, even after leaving the Pride Troopers, he actively watches over their progress and is pleased with their work. But remember what happens to a deity when he takes his sense of justice too seriously. Hence, which is why Belmod has already chosen his successor. And it's not Jiren, but Toppo. Toppo is already at the level where he can access the godly key and take on the aura of the god of destruction. He even has a destroyer form, having the ability to instantly destroy anything he touches, with, of course, the power of Hakai. Toppo's use of this gives us a bit of insight to how Belrod himself fights. However, it is confirmed that Belrod, both in the anime and manga, is weaker than Jiren. Though in his defense, Jiren is an absolute beast. But Belmod's lack of insight and ability to grasp that there could be another mortal stronger than Jiren was called out by none other than Vegeta. This is when he highlighted that Belmod, despite being a deity, is ignoring and deciding outcomes without even considering the possibility that Goku could grow during his battle against Jiren. And even after Vegeta pointed it out, Belmod still couldn't stop glazing Jiren, but was later humbled by his defeat. Jiren's loss was a huge evolution to their characters and helped them grow to understand the power of trust after seeing Goku, Android 17 and Frieza working together to defeat the powerhouse. Nevertheless, Belmod's strength as a god of destruction is one that cannot be underestimated. Sure, Jiren is stronger than him, but it is clarified that this gap is limited only by battle power. Considering the intensity of Beerus' Hakai and Ultra Ego along with his own, Belmod can use this ability to erase Jiren from existence anytime he wants. Not to mention his other moves. In the Xeno Expo against the other gods of destruction, Belmod managed to entrap them in an imprisonment ball and managed to even harm them all. Ivan was even afraid that Belmod's move could kill him. Now granted, Liquiir did manage to pop open the ball and attack Belmod with his intense Hakai blast, but just like Champa and the other deities, he avoided a full-on confrontation and was only pretending to be knocked down until the battle royale came to a stop. What's more is that, unlike the other gods of destruction, he didn't require to get healed. This showed that Liquiir's attack did not inflict much damage, and Belmod was aiming to ambush the last two gods of destruction and claim victory. Up next comes the god of destruction of Universe 10, presumably modeled after the Hindu deity Ganesh. None other than Ramchi. And it's obvious where his name comes from. The funny thing about Ramchi is that this pink elephant's motif comes from the hallucination of seeing pink elephants when an alcoholic abstains from drinking for a long period of time, which is actually ironic when you think about it. Ramchi and his connected Supreme Kai, Gowasu, are kinda different from the others because, just like me, they are YouTubers. Their idea of motivating their team for the tournament of power was by making them dance along with the eldest angel Kusu, garnering millions of views on an app called Kamichibo.
Nothing makes fucking sense.
If they are getting millions of views, I'm expecting we should too. So make sure to smash the like button and share this video to your friends. But anyways, Rumshi, like some of his peers, doesn't really care about doing his job properly. He didn't even show up when his universe and Gawasu were in harm's way due to Zamasu's rampage. In fact, Beerus had to be the one to step in to solve everything. The one guy Rumshi hates the most. This shows he isn't as aware of the state of his universe and why its mortal level is 8 out of 12. Now, like with Champa, the creators of Dragon Ball Super are playing opposites in the case of Rumshi with reference to his inspiration, because this Hindu deity is the son of the Hindu destruction deity Shiva, and Rumshi is supposed to be more knowledgeable than his father, having knowledge of everything in the universe. In fact, he represents wisdom and high intellectual ability. In Dragon Ball terms, he's more equivalent to Lord Zuno. On the other hand, Rumshi for some reason proclaims that the key to victory in the tournament is big muscles. He told Gawasu to think with his body instead of his brain, and also recruited members who relied too much on brute strength, stemming from Rumshi's own fighting style. However, as we know in Dragon Ball, you can't simply win by brute strength, and what matters is the heart. In the manga, it was Gawasu who assembled the warriors for Universe 10, and after learning his lesson from Whis, he trained his team by focusing on the heart rather than pure power. Unfortunately for him, that didn't quite work out and was eliminated thanks to the female representation of pure might, Kale. Gawasu regretted his choice of strategy, but it benefited his team, as claimed by Obani. Regardless, Rumshi's laziness did prove to be detrimental to his universe, but his level of consciousness is above the rest, as he accepted his fate with grace and humility. Prior to the Universal Survival Saga, he actually did quite well in the Xeno Expo. He has a special technique called the Battle Roar, which paralyzes the motor nerves of the listener. He was able to temporarily paralyze the gods of destructions and go on a rampage, bashing several of them out of his way. Rumshi was actually putting up a good fight. However, he lost to Beerus in a brawl and was completely flat on the ground, unable to get up. Next up is Moscow, or well, Mule, because Moscow is also a different kind of god of destruction. For starters, it is a robot vehicle for the actual god of destruction, Mule, who controls him from the inside. The idea of this combination is actually a pun on Moscow Mule, which is a cocktail or combination of vodka, ginger beer, and lime juice. Mule is actually one of the smallest amongst his peers. Bro actually would have been bullied to death if it wasn't for his high level of intelligence, which is said to have surpassed mankind. Well, I'm pretty sure Bulma has something to say about that. Now, not much is known about this destroyer god of Universe 3, other than the fact that he shares a close relationship with his angel, Campari, by being his voice. That's because he communicates in 8-bit tones, which only the angels can understand and translate for others. Mule would also have got into trouble if he spoke in a normal way. Like when the gods were summoned by the Grand Priest for the Tournament of Power, Mule actually had the audacity to use a curse word at the Xenos in frustration of the tight deadline to recruit his team of warriors. His angel legit had to lie to the higher ups in order to save their asses. Now in the anime, he doesn't appear to harbor ill will towards Universe 7 as many of his counterparts do, even questioning why Beerus was not invited to the Gods of Destruction Summit preceding the Tournament of Power. However, in the manga, he joins the others in ganging up against Beerus in the Xeno Expo. Despite Beerus using Ultra Instinct, Mule inside Moscow managed to grab him from behind, but the strength of his muscles surpasses the others, much to Moscow's surprise, as Beerus pushes his hands away to further avoid incoming kicks from his peers. Regardless, Moscow does have a strong and sturdy body, much higher than even Universe 6 Magetta, and I have to note that he, along with the others, couldn't even budge to dodge Belmod's attack. Moscow though was still able to get up and fight again, defeating both Liquiir and Hellas by squeezing Liquiir in one hand while striking Hellas with his laser eyes. Nobody really knows who finally knocked him down, but we see him flat on the ground at the end of this match. Moving forward, we have Sidra from the universe with the lowest mortal level, which speaks volume of his quality of work. Now I'm taking a piss. He is indecisive, hardly destroys anything, and seems to have a knack for making mistakes, as the Grand Priest got angry with him once before. However, unlike Beerus or Champa, he began to take proper steps in doing his job correctly. In chapter 28, we see him meticulously calculating, along with the Supreme Kai, whether a certain planet should be destroyed or not. In the manga, Sidra is actually compassionate and sort of possesses traits of pacifism, as he hesitatingly performs his duty, which is unlike the typical characteristics of a god of destruction. Perhaps this is also an indication that he isn't suited for the role, and maybe someone else could, take over his job. Someone who is said to be a better destroyer than Sidra himself. Yep, we have Frieza, who will likely be its next god, even though the anime shows a different side of Sidra, where he actually destroys an entire city, all because they are panicking due to the possibility of being erased. Sidra is not above wiping out the savagery of these mortals if they start acting like lunatics. Like, come on guys, don't start a riot. Regardless, Sidra is pretty naive, as he gets tricked by Quintilla, who convinced him with a lie that Universe 7 was planning to take him out. So he and Ro hire assassins to kill Goku and Frieza. So Universe 7 will be forced to quit, even giving one of the assassins some of his energy. But we all know how this turned out. To pour more salt on this wound, when Frieza showcased his insane affinity to the god of destruction's energy, he then proposed to Sidra of joining his Universe 9's crew. Despite knowing what a monster he is and what he had done to his own assassins, on top of his Kai's protest due to Frieza's treacherous deeds against Universe 7, Sidra did not object. He did, however, express anxiety about perhaps breaking the regulations out of fear of being erased by Zeno. But this interaction is, of course, a foreshadowing of Frieza being the next Universe 7's god of destruction. Even Ro, the Supreme Kai of Universe 9, stated that Frieza was more of a destroyer deity than Sidra. And earlier, I did make a point that these deities do not have to be from their respective universe. From Dragon Ball Daima, we also learn that these Kais are from another plane altogether, and then after they are born from the fruits, they are handpicked, migrating to their current universe. And to be fair, along with being the deity of the universe with the lowest mortal level, Sidra was also the first to be eliminated in the Tournament of Power. At this point, he probably wants to step down or, pass on the mantle to someone new. Who else better than Frieza? After receiving his new transformation, becoming black, that sounded kind. Hey guys, don't do that to me. Don't do that. Don't cancel me. Frieza is now plotting something to gain more power, and by the looks of it, he will try to best Zeno. But to do this, he needs to climb the ladder and sneak his way to the higher ups, where Sidra is not completely useless. He is, after all, still a deity. In fact, in the Zeno Expo, he was the best defensive player amongst the destroyer gods by being the only one to react quick enough to protect himself and the other deities from Beerus's Hakai blast. He practically saved the lives of the others, but Belmod pulled a dirty move and kicked him off the arena. Later on, Ramshi and Champa whacked him. In the end, he was down for the count, unable to get up, but unlike some of the other GODs, he wasn't gasping for air, meaning Frieza still can learn a thing or two from him. Next up is Hellas, the god of destruction from Universe 2, which is a counterpart of Belmod's universe. Similar to him, she is a god of destruction associated with a public superhero team. In this case, the Kamikaze Fireballs, a group of magical girls. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. Hey, shit, I'm gonna get cancelled. When Android 17 interrupts the Kamikaze Fireballs whilst they are posing, Top, the leader of the Pride Troopers, comes to their defense. sense, making their parallel more apparent. Their relationship is kind of like a more developed version of Universe 6 and 7's. The fact that Hellas is horrified by the choice of her superiors of destroying 8 of 12 universes in the Tournament of Power demonstrates that she cares about life and existence, much like Belmod. However, noticeably, she is the only god of destruction who has come to admire Goku, although it could merely be because she finds him quite handsome. But hey, that didn't stop her from wanting him dead, because despite this, she would later on openly express that she considered Goku to be a threat to Universes 2's survival in the Tournament of Power, and did not hesitate to order her remaining fighters to gang up on the wounded Saiyan. Hellas puts her idea of love above everything else, though it seems like it is limited to external appearances. Being obsessed with herself, she thinks she's the most beautiful person in the entire multiverse. But that changed after witnessing Universe 7's beautiful array of teamwork. Since then, her idea of love expanded and she realized that being ugly isn't just from the outside. Nevertheless, she accepted her fate with grace as she joins her team in saying farewell to everyone before the Xenos erase them. This showcased that she does have a deeper understanding of love and humility. Now, if it wasn't obvious, designed as an Egyptian deity, her choice of weaponry are bows and arrows. In fact, most of the people of her universe's team have similar abilities, as they use their power to manifest their costumes that enhances their fighting ability. And don't underestimate her, because she performed pretty well in the manga's Xeno Expo. Whilst Liquiir was distracted, she catches him off guard and fires an arrow towards his head, almost killing him, but his hands saved him in the nick of time. However, Hellas did incur considerable damage from Belmod's attack, and in the end, Moscow's paralyzing attack led to her defeat. Now, the next 4 God of Destructions are from the universes with mortal levels so high that they were exempted from the Tournament of Power. This means they know what they are doing, but judging by their performance in the Xeno Expo, they seem to be the weakest gods of destruction amongst the rest. This actually makes sense though, as the strongest destroyer deity were put into universes that needed improvement, and the weaker deities got the good ones. There's also the fact that with great power comes absolute certainty that you'll turn into a right punt. Shut your But that moves us on to Universe 8's destroyer god, Liquiir. His only purpose in life is to fix the mistakes made by his supreme Kai and to wipe out everything that threatens the mortal level in his realm. Despite that and his unapproachable exterior, Liquiir is actually very cheerful. He flaunts his superior strength and power by telling Yvonne that his Universe 8 is stronger and better than his. Their rivalry made them decide to have a friendly match in order to impress the Xenos, even inviting Arak and Jean to spar with them, though Jean did decline. Now, whilst he is confident about his universe's superiority, he was visibly stunned, like many other gods of destruction, when Universe 9 was erased, showing that he possesses a degree of respect for life. In the manga's Xeno Expo, Liquiir fought well, but it wasn't enough. The fox-like god took considerable damage from Belmod's attack, but he has the ability to sprout a total of 9 tails from his body, much like the 9-tailed fox from Naruto and, you know, the Chinese-Japanese legends. With it, he was able to burst open Belmod's imprisonment ball and fired a spree of energy blast at him, but it didn't inflict much damage to Belmod. Whilst Liquiir was focusing on him, Hellas took the chance and shot an arrow towards his head, but as I already mentioned before, he was able to protect himself in time. This showcases his reflexes are quite sharp. In the end, Moscow squeezed him until he laid down flat on the ground, gasping for air. Next up comes the mummy of the gods of destruction, Arak. Boy, if you don't get hailing from Universe 5. And honestly, out of every one of the gods of destruction, this one looks the most terrifying. Like,
oh my god, what is that?
Gosh damn, what's wrong with his face?
Why you bullying me?
He looks like a fish.
Alright, I get it!
I'm taking a piss because Arak is actually pretty cool. He approaches his role as the god of destruction with a thoughtful and measured hand. Unlike some of the others such as Beerus, who might blow up planets on a whim or for sheer enjoyment, Arak is seen carefully considering each target, aiming to expand his universe's potential with minimum destruction. This is how he obtains such a high mortal level for his universe. In fact, he stands out as one of the most disciplined deities, even shown regularly meditating and honing his skills, unlike the lazy or impulsive approach some of the other deities take. Arak shows a genuine respect for life as well, so much that he was visibly disturbed when Universe 9 and 10 were erased. In the terms of power, well, in the anime, he was on par with Iwan and Liquiir, but didn't do much in the manga's Zeno Expo. We know, like the other deities, he does possess Hakai and also telekinesis, but the cool thing he does is, like Piccolo, he can shoot energy beams from his fingertips.
Damn, that's crazy.
Okay, fine, I guess everyone can do that. Well, we move on, and the next one is Jean. Like the others in this category, he's pretty competent, with his Universe 12 having the second highest mortal level. We also know that the inhabitants of his world are quite intelligent, as they gave birth to time travel. Regardless, with Jean doing his job so well, he finds himself, a bit bored, and that's why he was quite eager and looked forward to spectate the Tournament of Power. Jean's self-assurance is crystal clear, especially when his universe was spared from erasure by the two Zenos, where he couldn't hide that smug smile. But in the manga, we see a different side. Beneath that confidence, he was genuinely worried about a possible erasure and breathes a huge sigh of relief when he finds out his universe was exempt. Regardless, like many of the others, despite his tough exterior, Jean shows a surprising empathy. He's even shaken by the erasure of Universe 9 and 10. And in the manga, we see him express gratitude towards Sidra for shielding him from Beerus' attack, even getting visibly upset when Belmod turns on Sidra after his kindness. And later, when Android 17 wishes to restore all the erased universe, Jean is one of the few deities from the spared ones to smile, a subtle hint that he holds a deep respect for life itself. Now, when it comes to his power and strength, well, in the anime, he seems to be very confident on his skills and power as a destroyer, yet he refused to fight with Ivan, Liquiir and Arak in an exhibition match. It seemed as though he knew the outcome of the battle, or was he scared to fight? Well, through the power of foresight, he realized that the Grand Priest's true intentions of that fight, that they would be ordered to rebuild the tournament arena after they were done. This is pretty interesting considering how technologically high his universe is. I assume they have a planet similar to Kanazan, with a species possessing the ability to see the future. Bardock and his team annihilating them in the TV special, and sadly, like the Kanasans, Jean didn't put much of a fight against his peers in the Zeno Expo. Key points to note though is that he did fire some energy blasts against the others, but when Rumshi bashed against him, he was down for the count in the end. Finally, we come to the last god of destruction of this video. His name is Iwan, the anagram of wine. Remember guys, every one of these deities are named after wine. Beerus beer, Champa champagne, Quitilla tequila, Moscow mule, Keles or also cherry is sherry, which is drink. Then there's Liquiir, which self-explanatory. Sidra is cider, Rumshi is rum, Belmod is vermouth, and Jean is gin. Oh wait, did I miss Arak? Well, that's the alcoholic beverage for its name, Arak, which is also the Malay word for alcohol. But coming back to wine, it's actually also denotes happy times, friendship, and open honest communication, which makes sense considering how amazed Iwan was with Goku's Ultra Instinct and openly praised him, unlike the other deities. Despite being very small like Mule, Iwan is a very efficient and successful god of destruction, as his work has led to his universe having the highest mortal level. But hey, I can't say the same to his strength, as he is apparently the weakest god of destruction. Just imagine imagine the strongest person in this universe. They must have some sort of respect or something, because otherwise this man would be usurped. But hey, in the anime, he still did seem eager to fight in the exhibition match, but he's even weaker in the manga, as he was surprised about the whole God of Destruction fighting each other thing. And during their match, he didn't inflict any damage on the others. Instead, he was just sweating buckets in fear and might have been damaged the most. In the end, he was whacked by Rumchi and Quitella, who had left him flat on the ground. However, with all that said, it could be that he is hiding his true form, as according to the Japanese official website, he resembles the Hindu deity Shiva under his fur. But with that, we have covered all of the gods of destruction. If you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the like button, and if you want more Peak Fiction, then click this next.